Welcome to the basement.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Basement Boys podcast. I am Chris Gray. That is Eric Mincer. That is Devin Mitchell.
What it do?
And Natalie Mitchell.
And
She's
that's
taking
Natalie
a little nap.
Nap time, y'all.
Don't you wish you could just nap through the podcast? Like
Yes.
doing that laying down podcast, it was weird at first, but like once you got into it, it was nice.
I mean, she's got the great life. She can contribute when she wants and just be like, hey, I'm just gonna take my nap now. Bye.
If I could spend all Friday sleeping, trust me, you wouldn't see me till Saturday.
Oh yeah.
Today's episode, we're going to be talking about March Madness, the NBA trade deadline, big UFC weekend, and all of the NFL headlines that have been happening. So let's start it off with some basketball talk. Triple-double for his whole career. 10 seconds left, he hit the three. Here we go into week 2 of March Madness. After 1 week, I think we can all agree the main storyline is that there have been a ton of upsets.
Oh, a shit ton.
Yeah, it's been upset central.
I'm just looking at the brackets right now. I think the first one that like really shocked everybody was Ohio State, the 2 seed, falling to Oral Roberts.
Yeah.
Shout out to Oral. Everybody's making the same jokes. I mean, good for Oral
So
Roberts.
many jokes.
They beat the 2 seed, then in the 2nd seed, they beat right now. Siri just popped up again because I said 2nd seed. Unreal. They beat the 7th seed, Florida, and Oral Roberts, the 15th seed that nobody's ever heard of, is in the Sweet 16.
And they just got verified on Twitter like 3 days ago. How crazy is that?
Props.
Great week for Oral Roberts.
Right? This is probably like the best week in that university's history. Let's just be honest with ourselves.
Oh, yeah.
It's definitely the most they've been talked about, like, ever. I can't think of anybody ever saying Oral Roberts more than maybe once.
I didn't even know that was a school.
So let's go over the jokes real quick. We could do Oral Roberts 1, Jim Harbaugh 0,
True.
beating Ohio
Yep.
State. There's the jokes of, is he now going to beat the Jacksonville Jaguars because he's beaten Florida? Oral Roberts have beaten Florida and Ohio State. Those are Urban Meyer schools.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody's been saying, surprisingly, Oral didn't go down. Oral didn't blow it. Yes. So we got
Classic.
all those.
Oh my God.
Somewhere in the other side of the bracket, there was Morehead State. Would have been wonderful to get Oral versus Morehead, but
Oh, my goodness. Yo, can we just
Morehead.
imagine for 5 seconds if those teams, upset central, made it to the championship?
That would be the greatest NCAA final of all time.
Like, I think the internet would just explode with
No, seriously.
well, I think if Morehead had it survived, they would have played Syracuse. So that would have just been fun for everybody. Saying Syracuse brought up Siri on my computer. I gotta disable Siri. For those of you who have no idea what I'm talking about, because obviously you don't, what's happening now is that every time I say anything that sounds remotely close to Siri, Siri just pops up on my computer. She's listening to me right now and saying, what should we be? No, we're not doing this. If I say Syracuse, it comes up. If I say second round, it comes up. This is incredible. So, sorry if I get angry at Siri. Other upsets. We got a lot, right?
Oh, yeah.
Hold on. Eric's having like a full meltdown in the middle of the show right now over
How did they
Siri.
But it's so annoying. I'm saying Syracuse, and it comes up. Maybe I got to just change the way I talk. Okay, we'll call it Q's. Instead of second, I'm going to say first, 2, third. I don't know. Stupid.
Just no S's allowed at all.
That's like a reversed lisp.
Wow.
I'll just talk with a lisp.
Hold on. Chill out, my guy. Why we gotta make fun of people with lisps here, all right?
No, you'd be safe.
What did I ever do to you?
I'm sorry, bud. That was insensitive. We can cut that because I don't want to look like I don't want to hurt you. I'm sorry.
No, that's fine. I understand who I am.
Wow. No shit. Back to March Madness. Now that this got dark.
I think this is the fastest we lost control of the show.
Yeah, that was quick. We gotta get back on track. All right, March Madness. The upsets kept coming. Let's talk about I'm going to go region by region. The Midwest is where everything got scrambled because the 1 seed Illinois went down to Loyola Chicago. We're going to dive into Sister Jean, how I think she's actually a witch. They're in Oregon State. The 12 seed beat Tennessee. They beat Oklahoma State. So you have the 8 seed Loyola versus the 12 seed Oregon State. On the other side, Houston's a 2 seed. They survived, but they're playing Syracuse, the 11 seed, who just slid past San Diego State and West Virginia. There you have 2 double-digit seeds in the final 4 of that bracket. In the East, things are going pretty smooth. Michigan, Florida State, they will be playing each other, but UCLA, the 11 seed, played the play-in game, beat Michigan State, beat BYU, beat Alpine Christian. So Alpine Christian knocked off Texas and then got body slammed by UCLA. Moral of the story.
How does that make you feel?
Well, the Pac-12 is just showing out. You got Oregon and USC playing each other. You got Oregon State still involved. UCLA is playing Alabama.
The second I tried to get you to give a compliment from you to UCLA, you just pivoted hard. It just your rivalry with them. It makes me chuckle.
I will say for UCLA, it's kind of interesting how their first night they had the play-in game against Michigan State, and it was an overtime game. They came from behind and they won. Then they played BYU. They won by 11. Then they got matched up with Alpine Christian and they won by 20. So their tournament has gotten progressively easier.
Till now.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, now they play Alabama, and that'll be a very fun game. All right, so talking about the brackets in our thing, in the Basement Boys podcast challenge on ESPN.
Dev, I think we're tied.
I think so. I was looking at it this morning.
I'm looking at it too, and I'm tied with myself for first, so.
Is it?
Pats on the back.
How's the one that your girlfriend picked on with the different colors? Where's that one going?
Well, that's women, and that one's
okay,
cooked.
okay.
That one's cooked because she had Mercer in the Sweet 16, or the Elite 8, but she still has Stanford, so that could happen.
Okay.
In our bracket tournament, though, I have one with Gonzaga that's looking really good, and one with Kansas that's cooked. Devin, you had one with Georgetown winning the championship. They lost first round, so that one isn't good. But shout out to Dion Austri, friend of the program. He made 3 brackets, so he's not completely done. All right, he's got some that are standing a chance, but he does have one bracket where he had Texas winning the championship, and right now the maximum points he can get is 360, which is the bottom percentile in terms of brackets out there. It's pretty incredible.
I know I'm currently at 400, so that's not good.
His final 4 in this one bracket, again, he made 3, so this is just one of them, but his final 4, Kansas, Texas, West Virginia, and Purdue. 3 of those 4 teams did not make it past the first game.
Damn.
Yeah, that's probably not great for your chances, if I had to guess.
It's not great. So that's where we are in terms of bracket tournaments. In terms of actual teams, the only things that I really want to touch on is that, like I said, the Pac-12 is going nuts. Oregon State's won 5 straight. UCLA has won 3 in a row. USC kicked the shit out of Kansas. Then we have the Syracuse Orange. For whatever reason, their 2-3 zone is literally like Mariano's cutter, right? Everybody knows that's exactly what you're getting from them. You know that that's how they play. That's how they've played for years, and yet it still works.
Yeah. Okay. That's a great analogy. Again, this is right here around the Sweet 16 is when I usually pick up March Madness. I'll be honest with everyone. Because now at least most of the BS teams that just like barely made it have been ousted.
But apparently, this is the year where the BS teams are like, nah, we putting everyone on notice.
Well, we talked about it before. It's because of this NBA developmental program. All the big stars that would have gone to the Dukes and the Kentuckys and all these places are just not there. So it gives everyone more of a fair shot.
Yeah, there was no Duke, no Kentucky. North Carolina got bounced in the first round, lost by 23. Yeah, a lot of the blue bloods are out. Kansas, like I said, lost by 35 to USC. It's going to be very fun, and I mean, looking forward. I see Gonzaga having a very easy walk to the final. Arkansas is playing Oral Roberts, and like, I think one of the things with the tournament is it's very easy to build momentum when you play a game on a Thursday and then you play another game on a Saturday. But when you get this break, this 5-day break, and reality starts to sit in, and you're like, wow, we're Oral Roberts and we're going to go against, a really good Arkansas team. I think Arkansas is going to kick the shit out of them. Then on the other side, I mean, Florida.
I mean, that's what everyone said
State.
the games leading up to this, so.
True. I mean, it's just wild to me how it's like you have one side where it's going to be Michigan versus Florida State. You have UCLA and Alabama. Those are all like pretty big athletic programs.
Right.
And then on the flip, you have like Loyola Chicago versus Oregon State. Houston versus Syracuse. And Houston's a really good team, but you don't think of them necessarily as a basketball school. Syracuse has been out for a while. It's going to be fun. You get a nice mix of like big name programs and Loyola Chicago and Oral Roberts. And I don't know.
But I feel like
I
was going to say, as if you're into college basketball, like I feel like this is what you want, where you're going to get the crazy ass upset and you're not going to know who's going to win.
It's not just like, oh, Duke's walking to the title this year because they have
Right.
Zion and they have RJ Barrett and like, you know what I mean?
Right. Except I think Gonzaga is going to walk to the title because they have this guy, Drew Timme. I don't know if you've seen any of their games, but Drew Timme is this really big white guy who he's a center, just plays under the basket, but he's got the thick handlebar mustache, like high shorts. You could tell like he came straight out of like semi-pro. He came ready. He's like, I know I'm going to be on TV. I want people to know who I am.
Yeah, but I mean, I like the parody, so I'm happy we're seeing these like crazy different schools and all that. But like I
Yeah,
said, I haven't been watching quite as much because this is usually when I pick it up. But
All right, so like the last thing I got is that I'm convinced Sister Jean is a witch. She's 101. She's
okay, yeah, you
She's like
said
the
that.
she's the whatever. She's the spiritual cheerleader, I guess, for the Loyola Chicago team. And look, she can pull this shit off whenever she wants. She just decides that she's gonna pray harder than anyone's ever prayed before in their lives, and will them like make this not so great Loyola Chicago team, who apparently is good, beat Illinois. So, is Loyola Chicago going to win the championship this year?
Nah.
If Sister Mary has anything to say about it,
Jean.
whatever.
But yeah, I was watching SportsCenter and they did an interview with her and they showed her bracket and she had them going to like the Sweet 16 and she's like, I love them. Realistically, they won't get past the Sweet 16, but I'm hoping. And I'm like, all right, Sister Jean, you said they're going to the Sweet 16. I'm picking them to make it to the Sweet 16.
All right,
Well,
just hold on.
yeah.
Pause. Breaking news, real quick. Fournette to the Bucks.
Is that breaking news?
Yeah, that just happened.
I thought
Yeah.
Devin said that like an hour ago.
Did they?
Maybe
it
like
just
20 minutes ago or 40 minutes ago,
oh,
whatever it
well,
was.
it just came to my phone. Well,
Devin beat ESPN on that scoop.
Nah,
no,
my
I think it
Fantasy
was-
Life app.
I think it was
No, it's
CBS
cool.
Sports.
Devin texted it Leonard Fournette directly.
Yeah, I wish I had like Shefty on like speed out where he could just be like, yo, Dev, break this news right now.
Perfect transition because yesterday I was at home just like paying attention to the NBA trade deadline and I get an ESPN notification. Shefty's like, Malcolm Butler signs with the Arizona Cardinals, which is like, cool, good to know, but not on NBA trade deadline,
Chill
All I
out.
all I want is Woj bombs. That's all I want. And Woj won the day because regardless of what anybody says, like Shams, good guy. He knows what he's doing. He's a Woj in training, but Woj was on it. He beat Shams to everything by like 5 minutes.
Woj doesn't need to branch out to football, all right?
I was gonna say though,
No,
like
he wasn't trying to do what I'm saying is Shefty was trying to steal Woj's day. Like, you know how
No,
like
I'm saying that Shams guy branched out, and I think he broke someone else's deal, and everyone was mad about it. They were
Something
like,
like
hey,
that.
stick to basketball.
but you know that
I didn't know that yet.
on trade deadline day in basketball, Woj is he's just sitting back being like, all right, guys, what do you got for me? All those young guys that are trying to take my job, sit back because this is my day. This is my Christmas.
It's his
Bro.
Christmas.
Bro, Woj is getting his own like fucking State Farm commercials and like fucking Burger King commercials and shit. Like this is Woj's time. This is when Woj makes his money.
Mhm.
Whoa, what a great commercial it would be for like any of the NBA sponsors to be like Kia like comes out with a new car. They're like, breaking news, Woj bomb. Kia comes out with the all new blah blah blah. Like, wow.
I
Kia,
just
that
saw
one's free.
I just saw a commercial where they did that. I
Really?
forget exactly who it was for. Well, not that exact like way to phrase it, but the pretty much same premise. Fuck, I cannot think who it was for right now.
Was it State Farm and Chris Paul? Because that's just like
it don't matter because we don't do free ads, so don't give them credit.
There was the State Farm and Chris Paul one.
Mhm.
I swear I saw another one, but whatever.
I also read a really interesting Reddit post about how Chris Paul is the real MVP this season, and I'm convinced he might actually win the award.
Why is that? That came out of left field.
Yeah, care to elaborate?
You said Chris Paul, and the Suns have like the third best record in the NBA, and literally nobody expected that. Like, I mean, maybe we thought they'd be good, but they'd be tied for the best record. You know, they have tied with the Bucks, so like nobody thought they'd be on that level. The Suns didn't really go out and add anybody other than Chris Paul, so like I don't know.
So
There's
then
more to it.
let me ask you this question: do you think he's more deserving than Jokic?
Right now, no, because Jokic has had just unbelievable numbers. But if this experiment, like, all right, so we gotta talk. The Nuggets just made a huge deal for Aaron Gordon. If that doesn't work out, then I would say like Chris Paul's got to be in the conversation. We can get deep into the NBA MVP race because I want to throw Harden in there, and like the Bucks have now won 8 in a row, so Giannis has to be back in the conversation.
Sorry, I just honestly missed like the last like 30 seconds of that conversation because my mother just randomly texted me the menu for Taco Bell. I don't know if she's calling me
What?
fat. I don't know what's going on here, but it was just I was very confused. So
She just wants some
NBA
Taco Bell. No shame,
NBA basketball.
no shame in the game if you want some Taco Bell.
Yeah, that actually sounds pretty good right about now.
Right? It got me thinking.
There's a
Sorry.
Taco Bell down my street. Sorry, yeah. So NBA
But
trade
yeah.
deadline and all that good stuff.
NBA trade deadline. All right, so a lot of trades happen. Nothing I would consider like league altering, groundbreaking, but there were a lot of movers, a lot of parts going. Like the Orlando Magic had a fire sale. They just burnt it down. They sent Nikola Vucevic and Al-Farouq Amino, whose name I think I'm going to give to Michael Kraft. They sent them to Chicago. Siri came up again. Wild. The Magic sent Vooch and Amino to Chicago. In return, they got Otto Porter, who's a decent player, Wendell Carter, really young player, and some draft picks. Then they sent Fournier, went from the Magic to the Celtics.
Yo, and he's
don't-
been all over Twitter. Yo, did you see that thing that he posted on Twitter being like, if you don't know me, Google my last name. Don't Google his fucking last name.
Don't Google Fournier. We're gonna save you the images, but Fournier is a kind of gangrene, which is a disgusting fungus.
But
Thanks.
like on your member.
Yeah, that's a no for me.
Yeah, it's straight big no.
And then the other Magic trade, the one that I hinted at earlier, is that they sent Aaron Gordon to the Denver Nuggets. I think that was a really good trade because it gives the Nuggets another scorer other than Jokic and Murray. And for the Magic, they got RJ Hampton and a first-round pick. And RJ Hampton's a kid who would have been a top college player, but he chose to go to New Zealand. So this is like what we were saying, where in the tournament, you're not seeing these Dukes and Kentuckys or whatever because these guys are going to the G League or going overseas. RJ Hampton's a perfect example of like coming out of high school. Everybody wanted him. Every top college wanted him. He played in New Zealand for a year, so he lost all of his hype. And the Magic don't have anybody, so he's going to play. And I think this actually gives him a great chance to like really improve. For the Magic, at the end of the day, they ended up with Wendell Carter, who played for Duke, was a top 5 pick, RJ Hampton, Otto Porter, and a ton of picks. So the Magic, if you're going to rebuild, this is a really good way to do it. I'm not gonna lie, like that's a good way for them to do it. But to me, the big winners of the day, Miami Heat, they got Victor Oladipo, which hurts because as everybody knows, I'm a Knicks fan and I really wanted Oladipo, great scorer.
You did.
I think
Well,
Jimmy Butler.
There's a slight chance. There's still a chance because I don't think Oladipo signed an extension.
He did not, but he did come out and say that when he turned down the Rockets extension, his top 2 destinations were Miami and New York. And I think if he has a good year right now in Miami, he's going to stay.
I think Miami made some good moves. Picking up Oladipo was big for them. And then
they got Ariza a couple days ago.
Yeah.
And he's a great defensive player. He played last night.
Okay.
I thought I remembered a third one, though.
I know they gave up. Oh, no. My fault. I'm sorry.
Right. No, I was just going to say, like, LaMarcus Aldridge was rumored to be traded, didn't get traded. He got bought out, and so he might go to Miami.
Yeah, that would be a wild turn of events for Miami.
That'd be... You got to put him, like, right there to make a real deep playoff run.
I mean, Miami's going to make a really deep playoff run.
Yeah, they kept Hero. They kept
Duncan Robinson.
No.
Yeah.
That's not who I'm thinking of. Why can't they kept Adebayo?
Oh.
Like, you know what I mean? Like they didn't have to move any big pieces to get any of these things.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they have Bam, Butler, and Oladipo. I think once they're all on the court together, it'll be great.
And I think that's also just all 3 of them on the court is now going to open up Tyler Hero a little more. You know what I mean? So he can get his groove going back because he's been playing okay, but he's not.
He's not playing like he was in the bubble.
Right.
So the Heat had a stretch where they won 11 out of 12, but then they've now lost 5 in a row. But like last night's game, Jimmy Butler didn't play, and you had all these guys like in limbo being traded from one team to another. So last night was just a weird night. Yeah, I think the Heat are gonna rise, and it only cost them Kelly Olynyk and Avery Bradley. So that's a pretty nice trade for Oladipo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, like, I forget who made the point. Someone posted it on Instagram or something. But, like, what did Houston really get for Harden?
Nothing. Just a couple picks, if that.
They got jack shit. I think it was
That's
Kendrick
what I'm
Perkins.
saying.
Kendrick Perkins, I think, was the one who was like, so they got Harden, flipped him for Jarrett Allen LeVert, traded Jarrett Allen LeVert for Oladipo, and they traded Oladipo for Avery Bradley, Kelly Olynyk, and a couple of draft picks. So, yeah, not the best.
They didn't get jack shit. Let's just be honest with ourselves. Like,
yeah, that's not the return you want for a player of James Harden.
Oh my God.
Yeah, bad moves on Houston. I mean, like, listen, I think they got a new GM, new coach, like new front office, but they got to do better.
They're in a deep rebuild, and I think, especially when you look at Orlando, how the Magic went about this trade deadline, the Rockets got like nothing, and the Magic actually flipped their 3 players that they were, I don't know if Fournier and Garden are all-stars, but they're 3 best players. They got a decent return from it, and the Rockets got jack shit.
But I think
Yeah,
I was going to say I think the real winners of the deadline might be the Oklahoma City Thunder because they just keep racking more and more draft picks.
yeah. I saw somewhere they have like a stupid number of draft picks in the next draft.
I think it's like 17 in this
Yeah.
one, and then 17 in next year's draft.
No,
Like
no.
a
It's over the next like 5 or 6 years. They have 17 first rounds and 17 second round picks.
Oh, okay.
So it's 34 picks over like
number.
Yeah, it's 34 picks over like 6 years, which is just it's just like at that point you're just a collector. It's like they just know that they sit on them. Somebody's going to pay up for one.
Oh yeah.
I also think it's just this is the best way to go into a rebuild. If you're gonna do it, just stack every pick you could ever have.
And they have Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, who's
Mhm.
a really good young player. I think they'll be fine in a couple of years. They're actually not terrible this year, which is insane.
Yeah,
Right.
because that team is just all kids that are like, we don't know any better, so we're gonna go out there and we're gonna win or try to win.
I mean, you look at that roster, and you would think they would be probably the worst team in the league, but realistically, they have 19 wins. I mean, they're not going anywhere, but they're only 3.5 games out of the playoffs, which is weird.
Yeah.
If we want to do winners and losers, I think the big winner of the best win-win trade I saw all day was Rondo for Lou Williams, because the Clippers get Rondo. They get that leadership experience, the playoff guy. They didn't really need Lou Williams coming off the bench to score, because if you have Paul George and Kawhi and all these other scorers, it's fine. You just need somebody like Rondo who can be a leader. And then on the flip side, the Hawks needed somebody like Lou Williams who can take some of the scoring load off Trae Young. So I think that was a very I hate this both teams come out on top, but that was a very win-win kind of trade.
Rondo's just like, I just left here. I tried to move somewhere else. Damn, let me live.
Lou
Calling
Williams
up his
is just
real estate
happy.
agent.
Lou Williams is like, yes, now I don't have to drive like 9 hours to get some wings.
Yo, bringing the wings to Lou Williams, all right?
It's going to be a problem if the Hawks actually make a good playoff run and Lou Williams is just like at the strip club every other night.
Is it a problem for Lou Williams? Like maybe he found the secret to his success.
Nah, dude. You remember all those times James Harden was at the strip clubs and lost to the Rockets? Lost to the Warriors in the playoffs.
But that was James Harden. They're not the same player.
Yeah, Lou Williams gets his strength
He's just
from
going for
watching
wings.
Cheeks clap. All right.
Lemon pepper wings. Speaking of James Harden, I think the Nets are the biggest winner of the trade deadline, because nobody in the East got that much better,
Right.
except for
Mhm.
Miami. Like Miami's gonna rise to that top level, but like at the top level, the Sixers were trying to get Kyle Lowry, but they ended up with George Hill, who isn't a good. He isn't a bad player. He's not like it's not like it doesn't help them, but it's not the same as adding a Kyle Lowry. The Raptors traded away Norman Powell. They got a couple of guys in return who aren't bad, but the Raptors didn't get better. The Bucks didn't do anything, which was kind of surprising, because I thought they'd be interested in building around Giannis, but they've also won 8 in a row, so maybe they're just gonna let it ride out. And then
I know, but Giannis has to be over there being like, what the fuck?
Well, I feel like they didn't make any moves because they made all their moves during the offseason when they
That's
got
true.
Drew Holiday. And
True.
When they got Drew Holiday, they gave up a lot of picks, so maybe they just didn't have,
Capital.
they didn't have anything to trade. Exactly.
And also
I keep forgetting they picked up Drew Holiday.
And I was going to say the Raptors, they've accepted that, they're not going to win this year. So they just hit the rebuild button a little early. Now build around, Siakam, Van Fleet, and OG.
Anunoby.
Thank you.
All right, so here's my thing. That's what I don't understand. Maybe you can help me. Maybe you can help the listeners try to understand what the Raptors' thinking is here. Because I agree with you. They had lost 9 in a row, so this would be the perfect time to rebuild. Why would you hold on to Lowry knowing he's going to be a free agent at the end of the year?
That's a good question. My guess is that they were just holding out for way too much. Like we all saw that the Sixers were in till the 11th hour on Lowry, and then last second, sorry, not happening. So I'm guessing, either the Sixers tried to lowball the Raptors, and we're just like, yeah, he's gonna leave, so like we'll take him on the cheap, and they were like, nah, like we're not giving him away for nothing. Like, come at us with a real respectable deal, and then everything just broke down.
Yeah, I can agree to that.
Yeah, I mean, that's what all the reports, it sounds like. It sounds like the Heat were interested in Lowry, but they didn't want to part with Tyler Hero, so that trade fell through. They ended up with Oladipo, which I think is, probably better because he's a younger, better defensive player. I don't know. I'm looking at the Eastern Conference standings right now, and you have the 3 teams at the top separated by 2 games: the Sixers, the Bucks, and the Nets. And then there's a 7-game drop, and the 4 seed is the fucking Charlotte Hornets.
Yeah.
Charlotte Hornets would have a home game, and then
I mean, that's not gonna last long without the baby goat.
Yeah, LaMelo. There's an update there. I mean, I'm just going full Woj. Call me Eric Wojnarowski right now, because LaMelo got his reevaluation on his wrist, and he might be able to come back at the end of the year. So if they end up in the playoffs, we might see LaMelo in the playoffs.
Mint bomb.
I'm just going to say, in my opinion, the biggest loser of the trade deadline is the Los Angeles Lakers, because they've now lost 4 in a row since LeBron's gotten hurt, and they didn't make any moves. And if you watch them play their last 4 games without LeBron, they don't really play much defense, and they're not that good.
I know, but a lot of people, they were saying, wanted like Schroeder and Caldwell Pope, and I guess they just weren't willing to move those 2 guys. I think LeBron basically straight up said, you're not moving Caldwell Pope. Like, apparently he's just very close to LeBron. He's one of those guys, like a J.R. Smith, that like LeBron just likes playing with, and he was just basically like, no, he's not one of the guys.
Well, KCP could also only be traded within the state of California.
Why is that?
What?
Oh, shit. You guys don't know about this? Yeah. So apparently 2 years ago, he got in some legal trouble and was under house arrest and could literally only play games in the state of California.
Really?
Oh,
yeah.
shit.
He had like, I don't know if he had like an ankle monitor on him during the game, but like, yeah, he wasn't allowed to leave the state of California for like a few months. So he could do Lakers home games, he could play the Clippers, the Warriors, the Kings. But if they had a trip to Portland, KCP out. Court order.
Wow, that's actually crazy that they like would let him do that.
I'm surprised that like the judge, knowing that like he's like a professional athlete and like this is his job, it's like, all right, you're only allowed to like leave your house for work, and then we're giving you like an ankle monitoring system or something.
But that's what it was. It was just like, yes, you can leave for work, but you can't leave the state. Right? If you got in trouble, it'd be the same thing. Like, you can't. The judge would be like, okay, you can go to work, you just can't leave the state. Which for you would be unfortunate because you work in a different state than you live in, Dev.
Allegedly.
Allegedly, yeah. He works in Kansas and lives in Minnesota.
There you go.
I don't think those places are even remotely close to each other.
Listen, I don't got Woj out here fact checking me, okay?
I do basketball, not maps, okay, bud? Moral of the story: the Lakers should have traded KCP and gotten somebody, because they're not doing well lately. But it's also great for the betting markets.
I mean, it's their 2 stars are out. What do you expect them to do?
Make a trade to get somebody, because right now their roster's looking terrible.
Well, yeah, but that's because LeBron and AD are both out. When you have LeBron as your leading scorer, motivation, you're going to look pretty crappy. That's what I'm saying. You got to make
a trade, because if LeBron's out 3 to 5 weeks, Anthony Davis is out 4 to 6 weeks. This is the starting 5 right now: Dennis Schroeder, KCP, Talon Horton Tucker, Kyle Kuzma, and Marc Gasol.
And look, I get what you're saying, but they have veteran guys there. Like, they have Marc Gasol, like they have Schroeder over there, like some good quality players. And they probably have more information on like how long it's going to be on LeBron, how long it's going to be on AD. Like, so they probably think as long. You know how they always say, don't go into the draft hungry?
Mhm.
I don't think you should go into the trade deadline
That's
hungry
what they say
either.
about the grocery store, bro.
That's a true fact, though.
No, but it is. Like, you don't want to go into the trade deadline hungry either and just like trade away some guys that are really good pieces for you that would put you over that next level once your guys come back, just to try to salvage something that maybe might not work when they get back. You know what I mean?
And-
That doesn't have
Yeah.
the chemistry with the team.
I was going to say, like, let's be real. They just got to make the playoffs. And then if
Yeah.
LeBron's coming back healthy in the playoffs and AD's coming back healthy in the playoffs, it doesn't matter if they drop down to like a 6 seed. Not saying they will, but I'm just saying, like, on the possibility, they're still
You don't-
now the favorite.
They
As of
could
right now, they
very
just need
easily.
to do enough.
They
Right.
very easily could be the 6th seed because they're only, they're a game and a half in front of Portland, and Portland's been playing well. They're a game and a half in front of Denver, and Denver just got better. I don't know. I want to hear from like Kisco Matt or maybe some of our listeners who are bigger Laker fans than we are and see where they are. Because personally, if I was a Laker fan, I would be smashing the panic button.
I'm not smashing it right yet. Because they're saying like 3 to 4 weeks for LeBron. I think that's what I read.
And that's the playoffs. So what if it gets set back? Because like we've seen Anthony Davis go from 2 weeks to 2
Hey.
more months. And
But it's LeBron. He takes like $100 million. He spends like $100 million on his body. Like, he's going to do everything in his power and not have setback.
If he got to do the stem cells, if he's got to do the whatever it is, LeBron's going to do it.
If he's drinking wine like
vitamin
Amari
B
was,
shots. Wink, wink.
Oh, taking the old Andy Pettit route?
Yeah.
wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
I love reminding Yankee fans that Andy Pettit also cheated.
I mean,
Mike Piazza, dude. Get the fuck out of my face. Who
Mike Piazza never took steroids.
am I thinking of?
Mike Piazza might have been gay, but that's like his biggest like off the field thing.
I don't know. I've seen his traps. I'm not crazy about it.
Oh, okay.
I believe
He's the
it.
trap lord.
he's a trap
No,
king.
but when you do steroids, that's where you build it up. Look at Alistair Overeem when he was Ubery. They were fucking out to fucking here. Just traps, dude.
Dude, we're so off the rails right now. I just
We
want to
always
say
are.
I just want to say before we like really go full wherever, that last night the Knicks were down by 16 points and they came back and won in the second half, and that I'm so happy. This Knicks team is so good.
I know. I'm very happy with it.
Mhm.
I was watching the second half and like Julius Randle started 2 for 13. Horrible game. I thought he was just pissed off that the Knicks didn't make a move, didn't add Oladipo, didn't add anybody. And then RJ Barrett came out and said, "We don't need anybody. This is my team." And RJ went nuts in the second half. And Alec Burks had 15 points in the fourth quarter. Like, that was one of those wins that tells me as a team, there's a lot of fight in these guys.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
they're hungry, is what it is.
I feel like that's one thing that, like, besides like the working hard and the playing defense hard, like I feel like Tibbs like knows how to motivate people.
Oh, Julius
You know-
Randle is like, he's having an unreal season.
So I posed this to Twitter, and Twitter is actually more split on this than I thought. Does Julius Randle have a legitimate place in the MVP conversation?
When you say a legitimate place, like what do you mean?
I don't think he's going to win the award, but I do think he should be like, if you made a list of the top 10 MVP candidates, I would say he'd be in the top 10. 23 points a game, almost 11 rebounds, almost 6 assists, a steal a game. Like, this is a Knicks team that we kind of all assumed would be bad because they're always bad. And they're over 500 in the playoffs.
No, I completely get what you're saying. You're not like, I think in a pure, like the pure most valuable player sense, yeah, sure, put him in there. Like the same idea I had with Derrick Henry in the football season. Like, he's probably the most valuable player to his team,
Mm-hmm.
or
Right.
in that conversation anyway. But just overall, I don't think he's quite there yet. I think we're looking at it with some Nick-colored glasses.
Yeah, that's the things. Yeah, obviously I'm gonna have a home field bias, but I put a Twitter poll out there and it was like, I put 3 options. Yes if the Knicks make the playoffs, and no. And it was like 35% yes, 35% no, 30% if the Knicks make the playoffs. So it was pretty even. Like, people think maybe he stands a legitimate conversation piece.
I mean, I could see that because you look at, like you said, he's putting up like 23 points per game, averaging a steal, and I forget the other stats. Forgive me, but
yeah,
like
he's also shooting like better than a lot of guys would. Yeah,
yeah, but he's like I see Chris's point also that he's just not quite there yet. Like he could be at the bottom end of that conversation, like maybe the 10th best player. But if you're looking at like
right,
the big picture and stuff, like is he overtaking LeBron and what he's done for the Lakers or Giannis in Milwaukee?
No, of course not. I just want him, like, I don't know. Maybe, yeah, I'm just being a Knicks fan.
You want to let me do this, kid? It's not Sunday, but we're talking football. It's football news.
Such a football guy. So it's the NFL offseason. We've had a lot of free agent signings, a lot of teams making some moves. Every place is throwing out their mock draft. It is big time mock draft season. Only thing for mock drafts you have to know is Trevor Lawrence is going number 1. Everything else is just a complete guessing game. But the big story taking over the NFL right now in the offseason is Deshaun Watson. So we know Deshaun Watson
not for the reasons you'd think originally when we started the offseason.
That's the thing. We know Deshaun Watson has made it very clear he no longer wants to be a Houston Texan. He wants out. He wants to be traded. He put his teams out there that he wants to be traded to. In recent, the last 2-3 weeks, there's been this breaking scandal coming out of Deshaun Watson being hit with lawsuits left and right. I think right now, so there's 16 civil cases against him, accusing him of a wide range of different activities, but all around sexual assault, sexual harassment, and inappropriate behavior with massage therapists. So these range from a couple years ago in Texas to as recently, the most recent one was earlier this month, March 2021. They happened in Houston. They happened in California. They're all represented by the same one lawyer who's a big shot lawyer. What's his name? His name is Tony Busby, which is almost a real name. And he's saying all of these things. So we got to take this into consideration. What do we know? What do we not know about this whole saga?
Yes, multiple cases, multiple defendants. A lot of them, like certain one of these cases have like multiple defendants per the case, or multiple not defendant, plaintiffs. That one, I know legal stuff, but it's just been growing and growing and growing over the past few weeks. Just certain things to note. These are all civil cases and not criminal cases, which plays a big part when talking about football. Like the football side of it, you know what I mean? You're not worried about the guy going to jail.
Right, but it's still I don't know, it's one of these women, Jane Doe number 14, said he's a serial predator. So we got to think, like, if this is Siri took the word, I hate Siri. If he's a serial predator, then I don't think he's going to be in the NFL. I think if these allegations are true, I think he's going to be in like Bill Cosby territory, where this is like a man who clearly is a danger to society, and like this is real and real serious. But on the flip side, I mean, I'm always believe all women. I'm always on that side. However, this given what's going on with Deshaun Watson wants to be traded, the Texans don't want him to be traded, and now this prominent Houston lawyer, Tony Busby, who has a working relationship with or has connections to the brass of the Houston Texans. This seems a little bit Putin-y, right? Like, Devin, you know what's going on with the Rangers and Putin. It's not, obviously it's not coming from Putin, but it sounds like there could be some I don't know, something going on here.
The way I'm approaching this situation is obviously we are a very believe all women podcast here. I think we can all agree on that. I think the perfect type of template for how you should look into this case, in my personal opinion, and I know it's not the same crime, but I think the Jesse Smollett case is kind of how you should approach this. When he said it, everyone was just like, hey, we believe it. We'll we'll figure it out. We'll investigate. We'll find out who did it. And then as they go in through investigating it, certain things started not to add up with the story, certain this, that, and the other. And they believed him enough to take the actions to prove the story. But it turned out that the facts that were uncovered didn't go along with his story and that he was lying.
Yeah, I'm going to stick to Deshaun for a second.
But no, I'm just saying that's how you should approach this case.
Right.
It might be all these weird things, but you believe the women, you go through the full and thorough investigation to get all the facts out, and then whatever the facts uncover, that's when we get into maybe things didn't happen the way they are. If you get what I'm saying.
Right.
I agree with you very much. I think this is a really, we just kind of got to wait and see. All of us from the sports world are curious because Deshaun Watson's obviously an unbelievable talent, but it's also, this is either, it's very serious any way that this goes, because it's either he really is this predator that has to be, reprimanded and reformed, and whatever course happens, but he clearly has a problem, or this is a really blatant attempt at character assassination by the Texans because the guy wants out and they want to tank his trade value, or they just want to punish him for not wanting to be there. So either way, this is just like a groundbreaking kind of thing.
Yeah,
but I do want to. Oh, go ahead.
Sorry, I was going to say, I agree with you guys. We got to let the facts happen first and figure out what actually did and did not happen. And if Deshaun Watson is a serial predator, like Jane Doe 14 says, and something needs to be done. We need to make sure that, he doesn't actually hurt anyone else again. But with the last case or the last lawsuit that's been filed from March of this year, actually this month, couldn't that turn into an actual criminal case? Or would that do you think that's just going to stay straight civil?
Well, that's the thing. That's the thing that's making this, people question this a little more, is the fact that it's all just civil trials.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing criminals coming up, because you can make wild accusations in a civil trial and not really get as much blowback from it. But if you make these wild, and if it is a false claim, not saying that it is, obviously, but if it does get into that realm of where it is, bringing that in a criminal trial comes with a whole bunch of different legal ramifications.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what a lot of people are pointing to say this is kind of fishy.
And that's where, by piling on the more and more lawsuits, if you have, I think 14 of the 16 lawsuits allegedly are incidents happened in Houston, that could be enough for Houston's DA or whatever to investigate, open a probe. But in terms of, you're talking about where this case will go, we just got to talk about how Deshaun Watson has a lawyer whose name is Rusty Hardin, which is hilarious in its own right. It's Hardin in Houston and Rusty Hardin. It's just a porn name. Dude's got a porn name. He's in a sexual assault case and he's got a porn name. Anyways, Hardin has represented Roger Clemens for the steroid thing, got him off. Rudy T, former coach of the Rockets, for DUI case, dismissed. Wade Boggs, dismissed. Recently, you remember Adrian Peterson and the whole spanking his kid?
Mm-hmm.
Used the same lawyer, got him cleared. This guy's he's got the best of the best representing him right now. So if these allegations are anything but airtight, it seems like Watson's going to be all right. It's just, it's just such a weird situation all around because we keep hearing that anybody who's ever met this guy says he's so clean cut and like wouldn't do this. But you also heard that about Bill Cosby, so you don't know. But at the same time, if this is all fabricated, is it coming from the Texans brass? Is it just we got to sit and watch.
Yeah, we got to let the justice system play out for once.
It's a very hard thing to talk about because you don't want to sound like you're questioning the experiences of these women, but it's at the same time there are red flags that pop up. You know what I mean? And it doesn't mean their experiences are wrong, and it doesn't mean this, that, or the third, but it's something that makes you look twice, I guess.
And there's a clear motive, like when people are claiming, "Oh, I've been falsely accused," blah, blah, like most of the time you have to ask, what is there to gain by falsely accusing this? And here you can see the Texans would clearly gain, leverage in their situation with Watson by making these allegations. I just don't know if that's the case. We could also be falsely accusing the Texans of falsely accusing Watson. It's just there's a lot of unknowns. The Texans did sign Tyrod Taylor. They signed Ryan Finley. So like maybe they're looking at other quarterbacks. I don't know.
I think that's also just side note. I think that's just going into the season with at least one quarterback like on the roster.
Yeah, but there's still 6 months to the season. They could very easily make a move, draft somebody, draft picks, get shuffled constantly, although they don't have their first round. I don't know. It's just a lot unknown.
Yeah. Like I said, this is just something that we need to take seriously enough to get the proper investigation done and let the facts come out and let the facts lie where they lie.
Yeah, let's let Rusty Harden do his thing. I'm not.
We're back from lunch.
Oh, that was smiling.
Yeah, that was a nice little smile, Nat. We all needed that right now after talking about all this like really dark shit.
She's like a good girl.
For a 4-month-old smile, just what you need to change the subject.
All right, let's go into some fun NFL news.
So players got signed. I know a lot of players are walking around with big smiles on their faces now.
And fucking just bags of money thrown over their shoulder.
Well, Dev, I want to talk to you about your team, the Giants. You got Kenny Galladay and Adoree Jackson.
Kyle Rudolph.
And Kyle Rudolph. How do the Giants feel?
I mean,
how do you feel about the Giants?
I feel good. Definitely needed the number one receiver. I was hoping to get Galladay. They got him. I was really scared that they were going to like botch his deal, but it's good because if he can stay healthy, he's put up, I believe, he has 2 1,000-yard seasons, I think, under his belt. I think maybe like he can get you 20 touchdowns. All the big question is that he just got to stay healthy. It's definitely going to help out though the receiving core because let's be real, Shepard, not a number one. Darius Slayton, too inconsistent. When he's on, and then sometimes he just disappears, and you're like, "Come on, dude! Like, get a touchdown. Let's get 10 yards or whatnot."
I get what you're saying, but I don't know. It worries me the amount of money they paid him with how injury prone he can be.
Yeah,
he only played 5 games last year.
Yeah,
no, I was gonna say I get what you guys are saying. Like I said, the injuries do concern me, but I feel like the Giants were looking at it as we need a number one receiver. This is our best shot. And
I get that, but I'm just worried they might have screwed themselves over down the line with how much money they paid for such an injury prone guy. I have no problem with the pickup. I have a problem with how much money it's costing them.
What was it? 4 years, I believe they signed him for?
Yeah, I think so.
Well, I don't know. I think you got to look at the upside too, because I agree with Chris. I mean, 5 games is like, a third of the season. So you want him on the field as much as possible. If you're going to pay him, he signed, let's see, it was a 4-year deal, 72 million, 40 million guaranteed. So it's really a 2-year deal, 2 years guaranteed. It's risky because what if he's not on the field? But I do think you got to look at the upside. He's had 2 before last year. He had back-to-back seasons of over 1,000 yards. He's only 27, and he showed he can be that number one guy like Devin was talking about.
No, I agree. I'm not questioning the guy's skill. I'm not questioning that. It's just they're paying him top prime money, and I get it. That's kind of what the market dictated right now to get Kenny Golladay. But the length of the deal, the money on the deal, it worries me a little bit that he just might keep getting injured and might not work out down the road.
I think this is going to be the big prove it year for Daniel Jones. Like last year losing Saquon in the first, game of the season, second game of the season, whatever it was, changed the entire offense. But this year you're going to have Saquon back.
Hold up, guys. I'm sorry. San Francisco just traded with the Dolphins for their third pick.
Breaking news.
Yeah, sorry, I got SportsCenter on, and Shefty just dropped that.
What the Dolphins get?
Dolphins are trading back for they're getting the 12 and some other picks that I got to figure out what the hell this just were.
a whole mess of picks.
Yeah, so Niners are moving up to the third spot.
Oh, so they're out on Jimmy G. Okay.
And then
that puts the Jets in great position for Carolina, though.
Here we go. Details. 49ers get the third overall pick. The Dolphins now get the 12th pick, a third round pick, and first round picks in 2022 and 2023. Dude, the Dolphins were almost a playoff team last year. They're going to be good again this year. And they're going to have more first round picks. Wild. But
all this is telling me is that the Dolphins are now decided they're all in on Tua. 49ers decided they're completely out on Jimmy Garoppolo.
Yep.
And now if Carolina wants to make a move, if Carolina want to make a quarterback,
ring.
Give me fucking everything.
This is what I love as a Jets fan, is because now you see what the market's set for the third overall pick. They're getting a first round this year and 2 more. The Jets could share that second pick for 3 first round picks. Like, it's very, very good. I mean, it's not good news for the Jets because the Dolphins are going to be really good, but it is good news for the Jets because their pick got more valuable.
Well, everyone said Carolina, like, they were going after one of these 2 picks. They have to have it. They have to get this quarterback right. And blah, 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 blah. Could we get CMC from this deal? Could we get,
No shot.
No way in hell. I mean,
I don't know. They've talked about trading him.
They have, but I feel like if you're Carolina, you're not trading CMC to move up to get the second pick.
I think you look at the Carolina team and anybody else in that, like literally the other 51 guys on that roster, sure, trade. CMC is the one guy you keep no matter what.
I feel like he's to Saquon. You're not trading Saquon.
I know, but if they love a Zach Wilson and they hate a Trey Lance and like they're worried, hey, crazier shit has happened. I think it could make it happen.
Nah.
I'm not sold, but I think it could happen.
I'll bet you $10 million that the Panthers don't trade CMC. But I'm looking at the Dolphins. The Dolphins got Will Fuller.
Yeah, he signed there.
And they got Malcolm Brown from the Rams.
Mm-hmm.
They picked up some linemen. Like, the Dolphins are really going in. They're building up their offense because they know they have a good defense from last year. Wow. That changes the landscape of the draft.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. What do you think they do with Jimmy G?
It's going to be really hard to trade him with that contract. But
the Patriots might take him.
Hey, someone took fucking Carson Wentz's contract, so fucking.
You're not wrong. Yes.
Give him back to old Belichick. Let him have his Brady 2.0.
There's been rumors that Belichick wants Jimmy G back.
So time out. We got to talk about. Remember how we were saying how the Houston Rockets did a terrible job getting return in the long run from Harden? The Dolphins traded Laramie Tunsil to the Texans last year for the first round pick. That first round pick got traded to the Niners. The Dolphins turned Laramie Tunsil into 4 first round picks.
Yeah.
Wow.
Complete opposite play.
From what I'm seeing, it sounds like the 49ers are very, very interested in Justin Fields.
I could see that. I mean, I could see them like worry that he'd be off the board before 12. So yeah, you have to
Definitely
make a
off the
move
board
like that.
before
Oh, yeah.
12.
100%. He's going top 5.
Right. So you definitely have to make a move. And if you want to be a GM, you gotta look at the Dolphins and be like, that's how you do it. That's how you make a trade and stuff.
I also think the 49ers are smart for going there because from what I've heard, Jets are probably going to go Zach Wilson.
Right.
If they decide to go quarterback in the draft. So set yourself up perfectly for Justin Fields with little risk that the Jets are going to go there.
Mm-hmm.
Well, because you got to think if the 49ers were so ready to move up and they were going to offer that package, which is a lot, 3 first-round picks for the 3rd pick, they probably were offering something similar to the Jets for number 2, right? You got to think like they're going to try to go as high as they can. Does that mean the Jets turned down all of that because they're just sold on Zach Wilson?
No, but
No.
I think they can get. But that's what I'm saying with Carolina. I think they could get more.
And do you think the Jets turned down the 49ers to hold out for more?
You don't know who they're talking to.
I do actually. Read their messages.
Well,
Nah.
Well, who knows?
I
Maybe
didn't know you had Salah and fucking Joe Douglas in your phone.
They're actually in my basement. What?
and they're not on the podcast. What the hell, man?
Basement boys. Yeah, no. So Zach Wilson's going to be a Jet, confirmed. Justin Fields is going to be a 49er. Where's Jimmy G going?
The bench.
Here, ready?
Actually, I could see a scenario where they keep Jimmy G just for like maybe half a season.
He's so much money.
I know, but like, just so that Justin Fields, like, you don't throw him to the wolves and everything. We'll bring him along slowly, and then bless you. Right as a trade deadline, you make a move and you like ship him off for like, I don't know, a team that's been hit by the injury bug and has no quarterback.
Yeah, I could see it.
Dev, I gotta say, that was an excellent, just like, you were saying what you had to say. Natalie sneezed, and you just kept it rolling. Very professional.
Hey,
Good job. Good job.
you guys know how I do it. Hey, how you doing? Keep it moving. Keep it moving.
Here's one. Ready?
Hey,
Jimmy G to the Atlanta Falcons.
don't like
No,
it.
they're supposedly sold on Mac Jones. I think.
Really?
Ew, why?
I don't know. I've been.
Out of all of them,
I'm pretty
he's a
sure
pace-
I've seen
He's
that.
a big pasty white boy.
Hey, filling in for another pasty white boy. Yeah, why not? Make that smooth transition. But they're also sitting at number 4. So who else
Yeah,
is?
but I'd take Trey Lance, Justin Fields, and not Mac Jones.
Zach Wilson?
Yeah, over Mac Jones.
Well, I'm assuming that Zach Wilson's off the board with the Jets. Justin Fields. Oh, so Trey Lance is still available. My mistake.
I'm still not convinced the Jets are going quarterback.
I'm not convinced that the Niners are going quarterback, to be honest.
What, you think they go receiver?
I don't think
Well,
they trade up to 3.
Shefty just tweeted out the 49ers are square in the quarterback mix, but are holding on to Jimmy G and are not planning on trading him. They're not listening to offers. So if they're not listening to offers on him, did they just make this huge trade to land Devonta Smith or Jamar Chase or something? I don't know. Maybe they just wanted to get in the top of the draft because they wanted more options.
But to Chris's point, you're trading up to 3 to get Devontae Smith. Like, Devontae Smith is good, but I don't think
You
could
could
get him
have
at
traded
6.
up to 6 or 8 and still landed either one of Jamar Chase or Devonta Smith, in my opinion.
I completely agree with you. I'm just telling you. I'm just reading Shefty's tweet. Shefty just tweeted saying that 49ers aren't shopping Jimmy G right now. So maybe it's all a smokescreen. Again, we still got like a month to the draft. We got plenty of offseason left to go. But
True.
very cool to be dropping live Shefty bombs on air.
Hey.
Oh, this
Look
is a
at
cool
us.
Photoshop. Somebody photoshopped Jimmy G in a Patriots uniform. Huh.
No way, dude.
The
It's
internet
not like
strikes
we'd
again.
ever see that.
Yeah, that'd be pretty cool, right? Man, people are good at Photoshop.
Is he still rocking the number 10?
Yeah, how'd you know?
No way.
Call it a hunch.
Jeez, man.
Oh, I hate us.
Yeah, so- All right, so before we dive off, any other NFL news before we get into the UFC coming up?
To say the Bucks are managed to bring it back together. You know, they've like somehow re-signed everybody.
Everybody.
They've re-signed Godwin, Levante David, Shaq Barrett, Leonard Fournette.
And
Tom
Dominican
Brady
Sue,
reworked his deal, and Dominic and Sue, Gronk.
Devontae
the
Smith,
favorites?
not Devontae Smith. Whatever. Yeah.
They all just kind of looked at each other, just like, "Yo, we could probably do this again."
I mean, Leonard Fournette's on 1-year deals. He goes out, gets another ring potentially, and then maybe gets paid somewhere else.
Gets
They
paid.
definitely- They definitely were all talking about their rings, and Brady was just like, "Yeah, isn't it cool to have more than one?" And everybody was like, "Yeah, how do we do that?" And he was like, "Just come back. Just everybody, bring it back. Just bring it back."
He was just like, "Nah, everyone else told you they were gonna get you a ring. Who fucking delivered? All right, stay here."
Who's the man? Who's the man?
Gronk shows up for that meeting. Hey, Tom, do I have to be here? Because I got multiple rings because of you. Nah, you good, Gronk. Go party. All right, I'll catch you later.
Wait, did you hear that Gronk allegedly last offseason did all of his workouts in one day because it was all Zoom? So he did
Yep.
all of his conditioning stuff in one day, changed outfits, so that way whenever they had to do conditioning over Zoom, he would just play a pre-recorded video. Dude, that's like he reached that like high school senior level and just never grew out of it.
Dude, Gronk is just a special person that I don't think you can hate. I don't
No.
think anyone can hate him.
Imagine growing up in the Gronk household. There's like 5 of them, just 5 Gronks, just big football players drinking monsters and partying. Like,
Did you ever see the episode in Family Guy?
yeah,
The
when they moved to the neighborhood.
Yeah, their dad was just like, they're all just genetically, they're all just the result of me blamming on a side of beef.
You'll have to explain that to Natalie one day.
Nope. That's okay.
On that
Um,
note,
Hold on. The other really big news in NFL news I want to talk about is Juju Smith-Schuster taking less money to play with Big Ben at this point.
yeah, not surprised by it too.
She's like, "What?"
You're taking less money?
With the Juju thing, at first when I heard he turned down more money from the Panthers and from the Washington football team. Okay, I kind of get that because murky quarterback situations. Washington football team, you got Ryan Fitzmagic, who's probably just like a less successful Big Ben. I get that. As we just went over Carolina, we don't know who the quarterback's going to be. He turned down a deal of a little bit less money, but with the Chiefs.
Right. The only reasoning I see behind that is he'll get more touches in Philly, and then next year he can work it into Pittsburgh. And then next year he can work it into the big
contract
deal. Now that revenue's going to go up, and with the new ESPN deal, and the cap's going to go back up, and he can make more money then. I think he's just like, you know what, sell out short term, go for long term.
Yeah. And I think a lot of players are doing that. Like, Dev, you just hit on Leonard Fournette signing a 1-year deal.
Mhm.
This is going to be a bet on yourself year for a lot of players with these 1-year deals, because with the ESPN money, the Amazon money, this new TV deal, all the contracts are going to go way up. And this goes back to Kenny Galladay signing with the Giants. I think the amount of money that he signed with the Giants for, like right now, sounds like a lot. But by the end of his contract, you're going to be like, that's kind of not a lot.
Right. Also,
And that,
I was going to say, who knows, like going back to the Kenny Galladay thing, like we've been seeing a lot of contracts getting reworked and there's a lot of voidable years. Who's to say that the Giants don't end up doing that, 2 years down the line, 3 years down the line, whatever it may be.
but
Yeah.
Juju could have also shot himself with the foot in this now that the Chase Claypool thing came out, because now he doesn't have anyone to take eyes off him if this Chase Claypool thing goes south.
You gotta explain
Mhm.
what Chase Claypool thing.
He was involved in a bar fight, right?
He's literally on video, like soccer kicking a guy in the face.
Yeah, but it's Pittsburgh. I mean, look at who his quarterback is. He'll be fine.
Okay, but if
He'll
he's
fly.
but if he's in jail for assault charges because it's all on video,
Yeah, look who his quarterback is. He'll be fine.
Yeah. that wasn't on video though, and that
Yeah.
was also 10 years ago when less.
There was multiple
Less.
accusers. I'm not diving into another quarterback rape story, but
I get what you're saying, but it's
they don't need Claypool.
circumstantially it's different.
They got James Washington. They got other guys. They'll be all right. They're the Steelers.
They also don't have a running back.
That's true.
True. It's almost like they could have paid a running back and not made him sit out a year, and they wouldn't be in that situation.
Well, dude, that's some crazy talk. Let's slow down there, man.
I hate to be that guy because I love Lev Bell, and I was so team Lev Bell when that whole thing happened. But like in retrospect, that he wanted a 4-year deal, they would be halfway through it right now, and he's not that. Like he's just not that player that he was.
Yeah, but a lot you don't know how much of that is because he took the year off, and you know what I mean. There's
Right, but that's another year of being a running back in the NFL. That's just more tear in his body.
I get what you're saying, but what I'm saying is I think I'm not saying it's good for his longevity, but I think when you're out of the game for that long, you know what I mean? It's hard to you might lose a little bit of the muscle memory. Like I don't know what training he was doing on the outside.
I don't know.
Like,
it worked well for Antonio Brown, but I see your point.
Also doesn't help
Right.
that Adam
Where did
Gase was his
Antonio
head
Brown
coach.
sign?
Potentially Seattle. Russ Wilson is pushing hard for that.
At this point, he's probably gonna run it back with Tampa Bay too, because they're
Yeah.
just like, you know what, everyone's coming back.
I don't see why not. Honestly, why wouldn't he? It was a nice revival for his career because now we're not thinking like Antonio Brown, he's washed. No, we're like Antonio Brown, he should sign with a team.
And maybe he could actually like play in the Super Bowl this year.
Yo, would the Buccaneers be like the first team to legit re-sign most or if not all of their free agents? Because it feels like everyone that was
We'll
a
get our
free
stat
agent re-signed.
department on it, but yeah, it sounds. I mean, yeah, most teams don't return everybody like this. Like this is like a
Yeah.
college team winning with all juniors, and they all come back for their senior year. Like that doesn't happen.
Right.
No,
And it feels like every day they're just like, oh, they kept this guy. Now they kept this guy. Now they kept that guy.
Mhm.
And then it's like Brady, who wasn't even a free agent. They're like, yeah, they reworked his contract to make it easier to keep everyone else.
Yeah,
They're
but
gonna
he's
be
been
really
doing that
good.
his whole career.
Yeah.
They're gonna be really good. We got
And
a
like
lot,
I said-
a lot of offseason left.
All right. Any other football news, guys?
Nah.
Oops. Nah. At least nothing breaking. All right. Looks like that's my cue. I gotta go deal with his child.
All right.
All right, peace though.
Well, it's been real. I'll catch y'all later.
All right. UFC 260 is coming up, so let's get into a little fight talk. Anytime those guys fight, it's going to be a close fight. All right. I only really want to talk about the top 3 build cards on this card. They have some great fights on the undercard, but it just in the idea of keeping it moving, we've already covered a lot today. So the fight before the co-main, the third fight of the night, is Sean O'Malley versus Thomas Almeida. I think this is a great fight. I really think Sean O'Malley's going to run away with this one pretty easy. Thomas Almeida has lost his last 3 fights. If he might be out of the UFC if he doesn't win this fight. And a lot of people are rooting against Sean right now because he says dumb shit on his podcast, which, hey, the shit he says is dumb. You should not try heroin. You should not talk about your coworkers like
Pause.
they're...
You gotta explain that a little bit. He was talking about heroin while holding his child, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
So he has a podcast with his like buddy, training partner guy.
Sean O'Malley, the guy with the rainbowish hair, depending on the
Yes.
day. Okay.
Yes. So he has a podcast with his like friend and main training partner. They, I think it's the Timbo and Sugar Show.
Cool name. Not as cool as Basement Boys, but cool name.
And they recently did a podcast. They had Casey Anthony? No. Casey, it's something like that. Sorry, I don't know why that name popped into my head. Casey Kenny, that's it. It was with the ending. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
sorry.
yeah.
All right. Anyway,
That
so
was good, dude.
they were they were doing this podcast with Casey Kenny, or I think that's what it is. Something like that. Anyway. And first they go off on this tangent of how they were talking about someone who was on, I think, Rogan's podcast. And basically he says he does heroin the day before an interview every time he does an interview because it makes him sharp. So they decided to go on this whole little like rant about how, oh, well, I'm not stupid enough to get addicted, so why not just try heroin?
I don't think
Do
that's
you
how
not-
addiction works.
Yeah, do you not understand? This is pretty much how every addict starts. Just thinking that, oh, I'm too good, I'm too smart for that. Like, that's the wrong mentality to have around drugs in general.
Drugs, gambling, anything you could get addicted to.
And the funny thing is, when he said it, you just see the look on his face. He just looks like, oh, I just made a great point. Like,
All right,
This
so
is like-
Sean O'Malley said this?
yeah. And then they go on in the same podcast to talk about Megan Anderson, who just fought for the 145-pound title, did not go her way, and now she is out of the UFC. But it was in the lead up to that fight, and they were talking about, oh, would you sleep with Megan Anderson? And just talking about her in like a kind of like degrading way, which you shouldn't do to people who, I understand you're independent contractors, but they're basically your coworker. You
Right.
just shouldn't be talking about someone like that in a public forum. It's just disrespectful. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So he's been catching a lot of heat for that type of stuff. But being stupid and saying dumb shit on your podcast doesn't make you a bad fighter. I said it in my pick video. Sean O'Malley's just slick. He's very long. He's very tall for that division. He is great with distance and doing all that. And he lost his last fight, but he doesn't seem to be shaken by it. Because he lost it because he took a leg kick and it kind of made his foot dead. You know what I mean? So I guess that's an excuse in his head. Part of me thinks that's a good thing because it hasn't shaken his confidence in any way, it seems. But part of me is also like, if you don't look at like what things you could have done better, you're just going to kind of stagnate. So that kind of worries me. It's almost like, is it confidence or cockiness?
Right.
But I really think Sean O'Malley should win that fight. And he's a pretty big favorite, so, but I still think I'm pretty sold on him winning that fight. Next fight I want to talk about is Tyron Woodley versus Vicente Luque. And you just have to be honest. Woodley's looked terrible since he lost the belt to Kamaru Usman. He just looks like he has some type of... It's not even like he looks slow. It's not even like when he when he goes and like he's throwing, he looks like he has all the tools that he's always had. It just seems like some sort of mental block with him. It seems like he's almost afraid to engage. He's afraid to like almost be first. He's never first.
Just going off name recognition, I would expect Woodley to be the favorite here. I would just assume that more casual fans such as myself would be more familiar with him, but he's coming in as a plus 200 favorite, which is kind of surprising.
Yeah, but like I said, in the Gilbert Burns fight, in the Colby Covington fight, he didn't look like Tyron Woodley.
Right.
He didn't look like Tyron Woodley even in the Usman fight, but I think part of that's just Usman being Usman. I think the Usman fight did something to him mentally. Like, I don't know if it killed his confidence, like kind of like what we were talking about with Sean O'Malley, which it's kind of a good thing that he's not losing any confidence, but he just seems like he has some sort of mental block where he can't pull the trigger. And I hate to say it, but in my personal opinion, if he loses this fight, or he doesn't at least look like the Tyron Woodley of old, whether he wins or loses, he should probably start thinking about calling it quits.
Really? You think he's on
Yeah.
that trajectory?
I mean, I think he's lost either his last 3 or his last 4. And like I said, he just hasn't looked good in any of the fights. I mean, just for the sake of his brain, for the sake of his, like, just the wear and tear on his body. And quite honestly, I think if he loses this fight, he might be out of the UFC.
Does he go to Bellator,
Because-
or you think he's just going to take a step back from fighting?
I guess it depends on what he wants to do. I would think he would take a step back and just, like, call it a day at that point. Because, like, look, you've been the UFC champion. You've done all these things. You've had these big fights. You've had these great fights. You beat Robbie Lawler. You beat Stephen Thompson. You beat Darren Till. You, like, if he's not on the trajectory to get back to the UFC championship, I don't think he'll keep going. That's just my personal opinion. But, like I said, Dana's, like, as we've been talking about when we talk about fighting, Dana's been kind of on this tear ever since looking at, like, the BJ Penns, ever since looking at, like, the Anderson Silva, these guys who just stayed way too long. I think he's just coming at it with a more approach of, look, you're 99% not going to get back to a championship. You're getting old. Like, you're not, there's nothing left in this for you. We're not going to keep holding on to you and just, like, throwing your corpse out there, basically. I could see the UFC cutting him if he loses, and unless he has, like, a great fight but loses, I could see the UFC definitely cutting him. Even if he doesn't have a great, even if he does have a great fight and loses, I could see the UFC cutting him at this point.
Right. That makes sense.
Because that's 4 in a row.
Yeah. Sometimes you just got to know when to fold them.
And, like, again, look at Alistair Overeem, look at Junior Dos Santos, look at Yoel Romero. These are big name guys. These are guys that will sell tickets if they put them on the card. But it's just at this point, what more are they going to do? And I think Woodley might be in the same boat. And then finally, the main event of the night, title of baddest man on the planet, the rematch everyone's wanted to see for a while now, Stipe Miocic versus Francis Ngannou 2. And yeah, I think I was going back and forth when the fight was announced, but the more and more and more I think about it, I really think Francis Ngannou is going to win this fight. And
He's
I
the
don't say that.
favorite.
Yeah, but he was last time too, and Stipe schooled him.
But yeah, but usually when you have a championship rematch, you would assume the person who won the first fight would be the favorite.
Right, but there's also a lot of factors going into this. First of all, Francis Ngannou literally, I think, holds the world record for the strongest punch ever recorded. That type of power, you have to fight the perfect fight. You literally cannot get hit clean even once. Like, not one time, because you will go out. There's no, oh, maybe it will, maybe it won't. No, you're gone. And Stipe did that the first fight, but I don't think he can do it again. I think another 25 minutes, another 5 rounds, he's going to make at least one mistake. And if he makes that mistake, it's going to be night-night for him. It just is what it is.
So if you were my financial advisor, where should I bet? I
Oh.
know you put it in your picks video, but for those listening now who haven't seen the picks video,
Oh, definitely Francis Ngannou. I really think Francis is going to win. I don't think he's more skilled than Stipe. I don't think he's the better fighter than Stipe. I just think with the power he possesses, and he's much more motivated for this fight. Before the last fight, he was flying to Paris, like, back to see his family. Like, before the fight, he wasn't really training. He wasn't really taking it seriously. He was just he was on a run and he was getting way too confident in himself to the point where it was like cockiness, and he wasn't training hard. He wasn't doing anything. He just thought, oh, I'm going to run in there, hit him with one punch, and he's going to be unconscious. And Stipe made him pay. He took him down and weared on him and got him gassed out by the second round. Now that Francis is doing all the right things on top of having his ungodly power that this man possesses, I don't think Stipe is going to be able to do that to him again.
Yeah, that's pretty sound logic to me. Can't really argue with that.
It's just he made it through 25 minutes without making that one big mistake, and he got caught, but he never got caught clean. I don't know if you can make 50 minutes.
Well, we're going to find out Saturday night. That'll be a fun one.
All right. But I think that's it for us today. Any news you want to touch on?
No, not really. I mean, we just got to keep our eyes out for more trades in the NFL. There's going to be NBA buyout season coming up. The playoffs are in about a month and a half. But Major League Baseball starts next week. So I believe our next episode, me, you, Devin, if Kraft's with us, we're going to all be talking about our MLB predictions. So if you're a fan of the podcast, message us, call us, write us, find us on social media. Ask us any baseball questions you got. Tell us who you want to talk about. As you know, I'm a Mets fan. Chris, Devin, Yankee fans. We will gladly talk other teams as well.
Baseball.
We
All
want
right,
a
guys.
picture.
All right, guys. I'm Chris Gray. Devin Nat. Unfortunately, left us a little early, but we got Eric Mincer here, so I'll see you.
Peace, guys. Stay positive. Test negative.
Welcome to the basement.